All right. Morning, everybody. Welcome to the April 4th, 2025 working group meeting. Um, we have a couple new members this week. I see that Blaze from Agritech North has joined us this morning. Blaze, would you mind introducing yourself to the group, what you're hoping to get out of it, and where you're from?
Yes, good morning. Oh, sorry. Yeah, my name is Blaze. I am a mechanical engineer. I just recently graduated, so I'm pretty new to the agritech or agriculture space. Excited to learn more about um, robotics in agriculture. I work for Agritech North. We're implementing some um, new technologies into our agriculture process, and yeah, just trying to learn more about the space and what we could implement into our systems.
Excellent. Sounds great. Thanks so much, and welcome to the group.
Thank you.
All right. And with that, we'll head over into the presentation for this morning. So I'd like to introduce Heather Crochetiere from Foresight Canada. And Heather, please take it away.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Excited to be here. Let me just get us sharing here. Okay. Can everyone see that?
We can, however, it's not in presentation mode.
Let's see. I think to use presenter mode
It
for
looks
Google
it
Slides.
looks it looks fine on my screen.
Looks okay?
Yep.
It
All
worked.
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. All right. Thanks so much for having me today. I'm really excited to see how we can engage and collaborate with this working group. So my name is Heather Crochetiere. As Dan said, I'm the Senior Director of Technology Adoption with Foresight Canada. And I will go over today our AgriNext program. I'll talk a little bit about where we've been, where we're going, and I'll start with a bit of an overview about Foresight, though, for those who might not be familiar with us. So, Foresight is Canada's largest clean tech focused innovation and adoption accelerator. Our purpose is to help the world do more with less sustainably. We do that by connecting the private and public sector industries in Canada with the world's best clean technologies. We do that through a variety of means. Of course, we have our venture acceleration programming. So we have programming to support ventures from early stage ideation all the way through to scaling and commercializing. And then we focus on the adoption side of the equation. So I always like to say, it's all well and good for us to have this incredible innovation, but if it's not being adopted, we never actually realize the benefit. So we work with end users to understand and overcome the barriers to technology adoption, whether that's at the ecosystem level or the individual end user level. And then we work to mobilize capital networks. So work with a diverse and integrated network to leverage resources and deploy capital where it needs to be. And then we also produce and deploy strategic insights through shared tools, resources, research programs, databases, again, all with the goal of connecting end users with the innovation that they need. We use a Helix 5 collaboration approach. So some folks might be familiar with the Helix 3 model, but we see both the need and the opportunity to connect and support 5 distinct groups who have different strengths and challenges. So those 5 groups are innovators, industry, government, investors, and academia. And you may notice that we haven't called out Indigenous communities specifically there, and that's because there are Indigenous innovators, there are Indigenous adopters, investors, Indigenous governments. So it's based on kind of our philosophy and roundtables and advisory opportunities we've had to better leverage or engage with Indigenous folks as one of the Helix 5 members that we've identified rather than adding them as a sixth Helix member. Over the past 10 years, we have had some pretty exciting results. We've supported over 1,400 clean tech innovators in Canada, supported the development of over 9,000 green jobs. Not listed here is supported over 2.2 billion in capital support. So pretty excited about the work we've done and excited to keep going in the future. We are a truly national organization with team members as far west as Vancouver Island and as far east as Halifax. All of our venture programming is available virtually, and then we have on-the-ground partners in different regions to support different pilots, specific cluster-based programming, et cetera. We are clean tech focused and sector agnostic. So we take a pretty broad definition of clean tech. But that being said, we do have some sector focused initiatives where we rally ecosystems within a specific sector to deploy and adopt net zero solutions. So those sectors are agriculture, the built environment, bioeconomy, carbon management, power, water, mining, and transportation. And of course, the program that we're all most interested in here today is our agriculture program. So our AgriNext program is driving the development and adoption of Canadian agri-tech solutions. It's a national network focused on fostering and de-risking the innovation required to mitigate emissions in agriculture while maintaining affordability and competitiveness. So like I said, I'll talk a little bit about where the program's been, and then we'll take a forward-looking approach. So back in 2022, Foresight partnered with Farm Credit Canada to launch AgriNext. It works across multiple sectors from farms to urban green spaces to accelerate the commercialization and adoption of innovative solutions for the world's most pressing agricultural challenges. Our initial focus areas were mitigation, adaptation, food security, and regenerative agriculture. So it included a variety of different programs, the kind of principal one being venture support. So we included a cohort that ran twice a year, consisting of 6 sessions and a pitch day. It was geared toward ventures that are TRL 4 to 7, looking for a robust understanding of the current agricultural technology landscape with sector-specific insights and user needs and market trends. So I like to describe it as we have our regular acceleration cohorts that provide that business and technology advancement opportunity. The next cohorts really provide that sector-focused lens to, what are the key things that an ag tech company needs to understand about working in Canada and abroad. And this allowed us to develop an active and engaged network of ag tech ventures. In parallel, we ran 3 innovation challenges with the Innovative Farmers Association of Ontario, now on the Ontario Soil Network. Challenge topics were developed based on input from IFAO member farmers. So really starting with what do the end users need, and then running competitions to find innovative solutions that fit those needs. That way we're making sure that we're not looking or finding solutions that are looking for a problem. So the first one was the Soil Health and Nutrient Management Challenge, which launched in November 2022. This program sought innovative solutions to improve soil quality, optimize nutrient use, and enhance agricultural sustainability. The winning innovators received a 3-year on-farm pilot across 3 Ontario farms and up to $20,000 a year to support cost sharing of the pilot. The winning solution for this challenge was Paqueta Systems with their groundbreaking solution for real-time plant tissue nutrient analysis. Some of you may already be familiar with Paqueta, they're rock stars, but their lens solution is pivotal in advancing precision nutrient management. By enabling agronomists to perform real-time leaf tissue sample analysis, Lens provides detailed insights into the nutrient levels within plants and specific areas of a farm. This technology ensures more precise and informed decision-making in agricultural practices. The second challenge was the Sustainable Ag Tech for Profitability Challenge that launched back in March. So this, or March 2024. This program sought innovative agricultural technologies that enhance sustainability, efficiency, and farm profitability. We know how important profitability and ROI is in the ag space in particular, so it was really focused on that aspect. The winning solutions for this challenge received third-party validation through an adoption and diffusion outcome prediction assessment, a farmer feasibility and agronomic assessment, sponsorship and speaking engagement opportunities at the IFAO Innovative Farmers Conference, and a feature in a communications campaign launched directly to target first adopter farmers. The winning solution for this program was AI driven tech software venture Gecko. By reducing the need for chemical herbicides by 50% through predictive weed control, Gecko demonstrated how integrating advanced technologies into existing practices can enhance sustainability and productivity. Such innovations not only contribute to environmental stewardship, but also to the support of the broader goal of securing Canada's food supply in the face of changing climate conditions. And the third challenge, which launched earlier this year, was the Next Gen Nitrogen Challenge, which sought innovative solutions to improve nitrogen efficiency, reduce environmental impact, and support sustainable agriculture. The winner of this challenge will be announced next week, so stay tuned for more there. And just a bit of an update on the work that Paquette has been able to do. We caught up with them back in September, so I'm sure this is already very out of date because, like I said, they're rock stars. But back in September, we heard that they have been making significant strides in adapting their lens technology to Ontario crops like corn and onions. It was initially developed for potato crops, and they've been expanding their reach through various indoor and outdoor trials. Future plans include adding support for more crops such as carrots and celery. A major milestone for them has been the quantification of lens's impact on emissions and farming inputs through trials comparing traditional farming methods with lens-informed fertilization schedules. These trials, conducted alongside the University of Guelph, are expected to help Paquette further grow into new markets. And as of September, they were operating in farms across Canada and in 13 US states. So another component of our AgriNext program is some research. So in particular, I'll highlight just one, which is our Ventures to Value Chains initiative. So this is a program that leverages data from technology companies and other key stakeholders to map and categorize strategically important industry value chains for Canada in the clean economy. So it leverages a searchable database it creates a searchable database which can be used as a tool to inform stakeholders on our competitive strengths, where there's ecosystem gaps, and where there's areas of opportunity and growth. These insights can identify where targeted programming, research and development, or funding can bolster Canada's leadership and economic development as we look to the future. So we've done a number of these already, including the agri-food value chain. There's a QR code there you can scan to see all the reports. This is just a little teaser of the agri-food ventures to value chain report, but I won't dive too far into the details because there's a lot in there, but we found 267 companies to assign to Canada's agri-food tech value chain. As you can see from the graph here, it's not surprising that the companies are highly concentrated in the 4 largest provinces. So this report, like I said, looks at opportunities. Maybe there are some steps of the value chain where we don't have as many ventures that we could support ventures working in that space. It also looks where there are kind of natural clusters already happening. So can we lean in and support some of the work that's already naturally happening? So definitely recommend checking it out and learning more. So since 2022, we're pretty happy with the work we've been able to support through our AgriNext program. We've run 6 cohorts, supported 65 companies, run those 3 innovation challenges, and supported 24 million in capital support, 135 green jobs, and 4.5 million in revenue. So now we're at the end of our first round of funding for this program, and it's a great moment to kind of reflect and see what the ecosystem really needs to move forward. What we've heard is, and what we know, is that Canada has an adoption problem. The uptake of Made in Canada solutions across the country is lagging. Risk aversion, cost, and inefficient regulatory processes are common barriers, especially in the agriculture sector. So we engaged with a number of ag tech end users to learn about their major challenges. And what we heard is that there need to be stronger pathways to tech adoption. There are limitations that exist due to the lack of technical growth and access in the farming and ag industry. There's also limited access to funding and financial support for taking on an innovative solution on the farm. We also heard a desire for education on the long-term success of new technologies. So what are farmers learn best from each other. So where can we support that knowledge sharing when people have implemented an innovative solution? How did it work? Would they recommend it? We need to facilitate more of that education opportunity. And there's fear of brain drain. And this was something we heard in particular in the Atlantic region. Farmers fear having startups leave after they've started filling a gap. So once something starts working, they're worried that the ventures are going to move to other larger markets. So how do we make sure that there's access to these innovative solutions across the country? So from here, we're going to continue taking a collaborative approach to shaping the future of Canadian ag tech. We want to maintain our collaborative ecosystem. We want to leverage where infrastructure does exist and make sure that we're continuing to support and scale ventures so we have that supply, but really leaning in on driving domestic and international adoption. And especially now more than ever, we want to make sure that we're supporting the positioning of Canada as a global leader in ag tech solutions. So what does this look like? We will continue supporting ventures through sector-focused venture training with an increased focus on this being really towards driving adoption. So some of the components will include a supercharged cohort program focusing on top ag tech startups. Again, this will be really driven by end user needs. So what are those solutions that end users are looking for? And then let's make sure we're supporting those solutions in getting advanced. So from our discovery, we have identified kind of preliminarily that focus areas should include data and AI, robotics, water and energy reuse, and fertilizers and soil health. This will also include access to our life cycle assessments program for some of the ventures, as well as support in quantifying emissions and other sustainability metrics. And we are hoping to facilitate opportunities to access tech validation and testing to support technical and business development, and as well providing that support to make the business case and really make sure that profitability and competitiveness are front and center. On the adoption side, we're looking to increase our engagement with end users through working groups. So this is a model we've used quite successfully in other areas of our organization. So working groups are industry and project driven, which bring together key agriculture stakeholders with similar goals to launch collaborative projects that support decarbonization, increase sustainability, and increase competitiveness and profitability. These working groups will foster increased network growth and promote equitable cost sharing to drive faster net zero adoption in Canada. We're also looking at adoption sprints and pilot support. So this, while we've done really fantastic innovation challenges, this takes it kind of to the next step. So starting with a call for solutions, once those solutions are identified, we'll provide ongoing project management and coordination to support and help overcome key barriers to adopting those technologies. So such as overcoming capital hurdles, technology hurdles, policy hurdles, and other hurdles such as the capacity for change management, training, and knowledge sharing. And then we'll also leverage our clean tech adoption platform. So this is a platform that's currently in its MVP stage, which is meant to really, again, bring together a suite of resources to overcome barriers to adoption across the public and private sectors in Canada. So it is a capacity building program that uses an integrated approach to reduce or remove barriers faced by end users in achieving their climate, sustainability, and profitability targets, in particular around the adoption of clean technology solutions. So this is a place to share some of that knowledge. Like, what are the case studies of where technologies have been successfully adopted? Where are the business cases alongside those adoption success stories? We'll also be providing self-guided learning modules to really overcome some of those education gaps that we've identified in the ecosystem. And finally, we'll be supporting implementation by providing a database of vetted solutions so buyers can go and take a look at solutions that are ready to be adopted. So I just want to thank our funding partner, FCC, for all the support they've given us to date, and hopefully continuing into the future. Showcase some of our ecosystem partners that we've worked with, and that's a bit about us. So I'll pause there, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Maybe I'll stop sharing so I can see the chat.
That's great, Heather. Thanks so much. We did have one question come in the chat during your presentation, wondering what are the sources of funding for Foresight?
It's a great question. It's a variety. So we are a nonprofit organization. We do get funding from federal and provincial governments, as well as we have access to some philanthropic dollars, and we do some fee-for-service work.
Perfect. And yeah, then open the floor to other questions from anybody else in the group.
And I'm happy to connect after if folks think of any questions. Maybe I'll drop my email in the chat. So if anyone thinks of anything later.
That'd be great.
Hey, Heather, I'll ask a question there real quick. So when you talked about those competitions, Paquette winning one of them, for example, is there like a number of growers that actually then followed up and purchased equipment from the vendors? Like, was that an element of the success?
So the first challenge where Paquette was the winner, that's still in that 3-year pilot phase. So we're hopeful that we'll see folks actually adopting the technology, but it has enabled Picetta to validate their solution for other crops, which has supported them accessing other markets. So I'm not sure if the farmers they're piloting with that we engage with are the ones that have purchased it, but we are hearing that it has led to increased customer opportunities.
Yes.
Um,
Thanks.
oh, sorry. Lorraine, go ahead.
Hi everyone. So I'm Lorraine, and I actually work with the Ontario Soil Network as the research and demonstration coordinator. So we've been lucky to partner with Foresight on these innovation challenges. So I guess what I'll elaborate on is that we are currently doing pilot projects with OSN and IFAO farmers. So for Picetta, for example, we don't have any adoption of the actual tool yet because it's more so geared towards agronomists, but we are working with several growers in Ontario on pilots. And then with Gecko as well, we are starting pilot projects this year with a couple of OSN farmers as well. Yeah, so that's kind of all I have to add on that part.
Thanks for jumping in, Lorraine. Very handy that you're here.
Nevin, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Heather. Nevin McDougall with RHA Ventures. Just a question on Foresight and the capital that you deployed. Of the 2.2 billion, I noticed that 1.6 billion had been deployed to companies in BC. Is that driven to a particular sector focus? Could you just expand a little bit more on kind of where the capital is getting deployed through your efforts?
Absolutely. And so I will clarify, we don't actually deploy capital ourselves, but we rather connect folks with investors. And the overemphasis of BC in our current metrics comes from the fact that our history is in BC. And we do have some funding to support BC-based initiatives. So we started in Vancouver and have a lot of roots there, but have taken a more national approach over the last few years. So I'm hopeful that we'll see that kind of normalizing out across the country as we move forward.
Okay, thank you.
Andrew, go ahead.
Morning. Thank you, Heather. Presentation was awesome. So I'm a plucky startup person, as everyone else here knows. And so it's not just funding that I'm obviously looking for, but how do we, as a startup, start to interact with you, not just from that funding mechanism, but, are there other programs, other events that we can go to, for example, because I've kind of heard of Foresight, but never really got involved, I think from a different industry in the past. So I'm just kind of curious how I can start to interface with you, not just from like, I need money kind of concept.
Absolutely. We have so many opportunities to engage with startups. Whether you're looking for specific cohort programming, depending on where you are in your development, probably the best thing to do, and I will find the link in a moment, is engage with our acceleration team. Typically, the way we do it is you would fill out an application. Our team would do an intake call to understand where you're at, the type of support you're looking for, and match you with the best program. If you're raising, we have programs to support access to capital. We have our Foresight 50 program, which if folks aren't familiar with it, it's a program that we run annually to identify the top 50 most investable ventures in Canada. So it's a good way to showcase kind of the strongest investable ventures and get access to those types of introductions. If you're looking for more of that business coaching, then it might be some of our acceleration programming. So I'll drop the link in the chat and happy to have a follow-up conversation with you, Andrew.
Perfect. Were there any other questions for Heather? No, not this time. She did drop her email address in the chat, so if anyone is interested in connecting with her later or down the road, if you forget it, feel free to reach out to us and we can definitely facilitate that connection. Heather, thanks so much for taking the time this morning. We really appreciate your presentation.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right. With that, we'll head along in our agenda. Coming up next week, well, this week, tomorrow and next week, we have a few events. So tomorrow in Chapel, Ontario is the Rainy River Ag Day. Next week from the 8th to the 10th is the Thunder Bay Soil and Crop Improvement Association Spring Farm Conference. That one's a mouthful. And then we also have the Earlton Farm Show coming up next week. So yeah, we'll ask about those next week, see if anybody took took a gander, and we'll see how those went. All right, heading over to project updates. A bit of an update for now. We will be moving forward with the OCTE and the proposal that was submitted to us for a robotics competition. And Bridget, if you wanted to expand on that.
Yeah, so what they had put together is the Ontario College of Technology Educators had put together a proposal that they will basically make a curriculum tied in challenge for us that we'd be able to launch next September is the goal. And the goal for us right now is to have it high school focused to start, but make it something that's scalable that then once the program is designed, that we could flip it to also have one that's more college and university focused. And the goal with that is to have some sort of challenge that the working group / innovation farms are running that will tie in the kind of the next generation and get them aware of agricultural stuff, because a lot of the robotics competitions that are out there currently in Canada are not specifically focused on agriculture. So if there is anybody that is interested in the program as they build out the design of it, they are also interested in kind of having a few meetings just to kind of get some ideas and things like that. We've had some preliminary ones, but I know Eric from OMAPA had reached out, for example, that he was interested in being part of that discussion. So if there's anyone else that wants to be part of that, just let myself or Dan know. And then once we have those discussions, we will connect you with them. That's all from me.
Thanks, Bridget. Rewinding a little bit back to the upcoming events.
How are you doing?
I jumped over, I've added the Jelly Academy Digital Marketing Bootcamp. Begins April 16th. It's a 10-week program. Deadline to apply is the 15th. And it looks like a great way for some starting out companies to get some experience with digital marketing, and they provide opportunities to cover the costs of that. So if that sounds like something someone might be interested in, check that out. All right, continuing along, we do not have any new funding announcements or opportunities for this week. So those ones will all be the same there. And that will lead us into the roundtable for this week. Lisa, I know you had expressed interest in sharing something with the group, so please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Dan. Good morning, everybody. I'm Lisa Klimstra from SenGen. As I mentioned in an earlier session, we do have a new program to support agriculture. We will be having 2 agriculture living labs and a robotics living lab with a funded program to support innovation and adoption projects. We are looking for external review panelists, as each application does need to be reviewed by 3 external reviewers. The time commitment is probably an hour to an hour and a half per application, with an overall annual commitment of 6 to 12 applications. If anyone is interested, I would be delighted if you would let me know. I will put my email in the chat. We would really appreciate your input, regardless of what your expertise is. If you're on this call, we're interested in your expertise. So whether it's from an agriculture perspective, a robotics perspective, startup, or Canadian small medium enterprise business perspective, we are interested in your support. So I will put some details in the chat, and happy to have a call with anyone that's interested one-on-one to explain a little bit more about the program. Thank you very much. That's all, Dan.
Thanks, Lisa. All right. Was there anybody else who had anything to bring up during the roundtable here? Bridget, go ahead.
So it's not finalized yet, but I will mention Tim Warland and I had a good call this week about potentially a panel discussion, probably in May, about the semiconductors and how, if you guys remember a few weeks or a few months ago, Dan had presented his AI tool and kind of a discussion point about how in the Canadian landscape we can be a little bit more competitive. So we are looking to have a panel discussion on that for one of our working group calls moving forward. So Dan from Untethered AI, as well as Tim Moreland from CMC Microsystems, have both said that they're interested in being panelists on that. So we have reached out to a third group, which is the Manufacturers Association for Agricultural Equipment. However, I have a new contact there, so I'm not entirely sure if that one will come through or not. So if there is anyone else that would be interested in that panel discussion, they are both from a semiconductor background, so that's kind of where the focus of it will be. But it'll be a little bit more about how we can make robotics and the technology side of things a little bit more competitive in the Canadian landscape. Tim, if I missed anything kind of from our initial discussion, just jump in and let me know here. But
yeah, I appreciate you bringing this up, Bridget. Thank you very much. And actually, I spoke with Dan yesterday. We had a fantastic chat that went over by about an hour, so that's always a good sign. And yes, when we talk about semiconductors, but I also want to think about them as a sensor application. So if you've got sensors that you're trying to miniaturize and get more efficiency out of it, then this is the kind of thing that our funding can be applied for. Thank you.
thank you, Tim. And just I'll touch on David's comment as well. David, I will reach out to you directly after the call, but we are still reviewing research applications for this coming summer.
Perfect. Thanks, Bridget. Any other thoughts, updates, questions? You're making my job too easy. Andrew.
Oh, then that's why I'll talk then. I'll make your job really difficult. No, actually, so this is kind of a bit of an ask from my company to anyone here, say producers or other companies interested. We actually just put our order in for our 25 next kits to actually be ready for over the summer. So we're actually looking still for a few more powders that want to actually test our camera systems for fire detection, thermal runaway, part movement and such over the summer. So we're gearing up for about late May for our first 5 to be deployed. And then probably by June, end of June, we'll have the rest of the units finished. So we have a few spots left if anyone's actually seriously interested, because once they're deployed, you will probably not see me for the summer. But if anyone's interested or knows a farm that might be interested, please let me know. We're probably going to lock that up probably by about April 28th at the latest. So if anyone is interested, this is now the time. So thanks.
Awesome. Great news. Thanks, Andrew.
Just to jump in quick, Andrew, is there any restrictions on where you want those farms to be located?
Please not none of it, or California. Our team is deployed in Southern Ontario, Indiana, and British Columbia right now. So that's where the cores of our team are. We are going to be in Saskatchewan quite a bit over the summer because we're part of the cultivator program. So we'll be there quite often, but it's more, it's really the data side, right? We need the data. So it's more about the service agreement, and also can they make sure they can maintain it, right? If it breaks, we can swap it out. So it's really, they need to be a little bit more hands-on type of farm. So they can be almost anywhere, but they just have to be a little more willing to work with us.
Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I get another speaking spot. This is a great opportunity. I just wanted to say that I had worked with Andrew in the past, and he is an excellent resource. So work with Andrew because he's got a lot of energy to help you get to market.
I did not pay him at all. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for adding that in. Okay. Anybody else like to take the opportunity? All right. We have a nice group of new articles to share with you all this week on the agenda. So, great way to stay up to date on what's going on in the industry in general. And yeah, if nobody else has anything, we're a bit early this week, but if that's the case, Bridget, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just saving Dan a little bit here. We won't keep it too long if there is nothing else for people to discuss, but I did just want to mention we're going into planning for next year's events that we'll be at. So if there are any events in your area that you really think would be good for the working group to have a booth at, we primarily this last year focused on attending trade shows that were kind of the larger ones across the province, aside from Nofia, which didn't run. So if you are say in Earlton or whatever, and you're like, hey, you know what, I really think that it'd be good for the working group to have a presence at our area specifically. We are also looking to have a program where it's not necessarily always Dan or myself going, that there is some flexibility for us to have a working group member attend in our place, that they would be obviously advocating on behalf of the working group, but we'd send them with materials and that kind of thing as well, just to try to get a little bit more reach across the province, because we're obviously based in Southwestern Ontario. So most of the events that we've been at the moment are in that area. So just throwing it out for anybody that has a show that they think would be really good, primarily Ontario focused, please let us know.
Thanks, Bridget. Evan, go ahead.
Just following up on Bridget's comment, I think my colleague Brian might have mentioned that Vineland, we're working with OCI as a technology demonstration site. And this summer in June, maybe related to what Bridget is suggesting, we'd love to have someone from the Ag Robotics Working Group at an upcoming sort of OCI projects showcase that we're going to have. It'll be a bit like a science fair, showing off some of the great funding and project outcomes for the OCI work. And maybe that would be a good chance for, since a lot of these projects and technologies are also linked to this group, I think it would be great to have you come out. So I just wanted to mention that, and for everyone else to know that we're still finalizing a date, but it's going to be mid to late June. And I think that'll be really something to look forward to. And if Bridget, you and I could chat further later on, I know we'll cross paths in a variety of ways. We can discuss that in more detail.
For sure. Yeah. Send us the details once you have the date finalized.
Awesome. Thanks.
Problem. Thank you, Evan. Ian, go ahead. Oh, I saw Ian, you had your hand up for a second, but it went away. Okay. All right then.
Sorry, I'm mobile and I couldn't find the mute button. So I just want to say that working in this sector has many ups and downs, and that can be very frustrating. But I had an amazing day yesterday meeting with a company on spray drones that really invigorated my enthusiasm for that concept, which I have had a lot of reservations about. And I don't want to talk about them yet, but really exciting in terms of the potential and understanding the industry and what's needed and stuff. So I'm hoping to get them on here to chat with us about their approach to things. So hopefully stay tuned for that.
That sounds great, Ian. We'll connect offline via email, and we can see what we can do to get them involved. That'd be great. Thank you. Bridget again.
Just one last comment, because somebody had sent me a message directly. So the Area Expo event in September, I believe it's September 26th or 27th, their GC Expo. We've already been in discussions with them about having an more agricultural focused area at that event. And we actually referred a lot of the Ottawa Valley farmers to there just because it's a lot closer for them. So yes, the working group and Innovation Farms will be there in September for that event. But thank you for that connection.
Ian again.
And if that's the case, Bridget, I've been up there, a truck's been up there several times. I think it's a great opportunity, but I think they need more sort of agronomic support in terms of doing things that would be of value to farmers and that. So, a few of us should be part of that conversation with them.
Thanks, Ian. And yeah, I don't want to steal her thunder too much. She's got some really innovative programs that she's working on for this coming summer with FCC and with Haggerty and a few other partners. So I don't know if Suzanne is on the call, but that might be something we'll have her touch on in a little later on. But we are seeing how we can support that, and we'll make sure we have more agronomy support there as well.
Awesome, great. Okay, any other last thoughts or comments?
Maybe just one more event. I don't know that we have it on the board. The Agritech Venture Forum in Toronto, where a lot of the ag tech investors come and companies pitch. If people are interested in that, I know there's still registrations open, and I think it's first week of May in Toronto, downtown Toronto. And then I guess Robert, I don't know, Discovery X is coming up in a couple of weeks too. OCI's big event in Toronto. I don't know if Robert's on. We lost Robert, but
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. Yeah, Discovery X is coming up April 16th and 17th. So you can go to the website and join up there. In the morning, we're actually having an ag-focused event on cybersecurity. So that's been on LinkedIn, and I've sent that invite out to actually quite a few people in this group as well. So that's going to be a limited seating. So if you're interested, you should sign up early on that. So again, that's cybersecurity focus, and we're having a panel in the afternoon about AI in agriculture as well. So we've got some good ag focus in Discovery, as well as all the other opportunities to meet investors like Joe. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for the update, Robert. And Joe, thanks for the update on the Venture Forum. I'll grab the link for that and I'll add it in for the agenda next week. All right. Another chance for some last thoughts or comments? Trade Commissioner Service will be at both events. That's what Taylor said. Thanks, Taylor. All right. In that case, I think we'll call it at our end there. I want to say thanks once again to Heather for taking the time to present. We really appreciate it. I know it's not always easy at 9 a.m. on a Friday. And thanks for everybody else for joining the call. We'll finish a bit early, and everybody have themselves a great weekend, and we will reconnect next week.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.